get started. There we go. That's working. Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and call the
Recording in progress.
Call the Finance Committee meeting for February 22nd to order. And if I could just get a motion to that effect.
Motion to open the meeting. Well, that feels weird.
Yeah.
Second.
All right. Motion by Paul, second by Amy, and there's just a roll call it. Paul,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
and yes for myself. And in attendance is Paul Benjamin, Amy Fiden, David Phil, and Andy Quebec is here too. So there we go. So we got 4.
You don't see me?
Yeah, it just popped up. So there you go. And all votes will be taken via roll call, and this is being recorded. And so tonight we have Chief Mason and Alex from Hadley Media. Just a schedule change due to, I guess Chief Spankdevil wasn't ready to make his presentation quite yet. So I think we're going to do him next week. And so Carolyn will not be here, at least to start this evening. But Linda, do you want to start off with anything?
No, I think we've got, I think that those are the budgets we're going to do tonight. Police, dispatch, and Hadley Media. And for next week, they have fire and ambulance.
Okay. I think we had a request to have Alex go first. So if Alex, if you're ready and you would like to go, if not, I'll throw it over to Chief Mason.
It's totally up to you.
All right. If you want to go ahead and start off and tell us what you got going on and what's the status and the future of Hadley Media.
Yep, so let me get my presentation up. Give me 1 second here. Tap I want to get to. There we go. Nope, this one. All right, because everyone can still see this and hear me, all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Great. All right. So like I did last year, I can give you guys the help of the department. Pretty much give a general, this except for this year, we're gonna give a general overview of what we did last year, or our successes were, and all of that. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of what the finances look like, what the future looks like, our goals, and all of that. So obviously we're gonna go over general information first, which is gonna be very brief. Successes and happenings from last year. What we're gonna be coming up in 2025, so you know what we're paying for. Challenges that we're gonna be experiencing coming up and already seeing as of FY24. And then we'll obviously get into the finances, goals, and solutions and questions afterwards. I do have outside sources that back up some industry related information. So if anyone in the public wants to get a hold of information, they can always reach out to me, lamarchea@hadleyma.gov. So general information, just to give a quick reminder to the public, what do we do? Hadley Media provides media coverage of town functions for town residents and community members. This includes municipal government meetings, sporting events, and community event coverage. We currently receive 4% of all charter cable revenue, soon to be 5%, pending a successful renewal license in March, and we'll have that public hearing on March 6th at 6 o'clock during the select board meeting. And as a reminder, we don't get any internet subscription revenue, just cable. So what we did last year, our department definitely got some more momentum and some more traffic. We saw a 46% increase in new subscribers, a 64% increase in views, and an 87.88% increase in watch hour, which is a very, very important statistic, because that means that people are more engaged with the content than if you were to view it for a minute. So whenever I talk about viewers or watch hours are typically the more important statistic, but it's good to see how many people actually go on and watch our stuff as well. Even Facebook, we see seeing an increase, even though we saw a decrease in reach from 2022 to 2023, you can tell that it's still a hell of a lot more than 2021. But we got more page visits, and we have definitely got more followers last year. And it's continuing to grow. So here's our most watched on YouTube. Obviously, you see a lot of school events, school sports, and our step dancing. And all the non-sports on YouTube. Again, a lot of almost half is school, and then you have the Memorial Day Parade and the Climate Change Committee. And then here's our most watched on Facebook when we streamed live to Facebook. Again, more sports than last year's select board and finance committee meeting. I received the Superintendent Distinguished Service Award from the Superintendent McKenzie. I had the opportunity to sit in front of the Joint Committee on Advanced Information Technology, Internet, and Cybersecurity to talk about our legislation that's currently that was currently extended after joint rule. We'll get more into that when we get to further down the line in this presentation. We saw some media coverage, newspaper coverage. I've been mentioning the paper more than I thought I would be within a year. It's all good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. We became the exclusive Canva, which is pretty much a graphic art software expert and provider for the town of Hadley. We gave a lot of town departments Canva accounts for free when they get all the pro features. As you can see, there's a lot. I put together some of the things that were created within the departments. And then we kind of became the unofficial Facebook and Instagram for the town of Hadley, which is really a good thing, because I know that keeping government transparent and getting information out is very important, and social media is a good tool for that. And just to show more of it, not all of these are ours. Some were made, but I shared them out anyways, so that folks can have all that information. So what's in store for FY25? We're working on our brand identity a little more, really matching the dark blue color that we've been playing with. So we see some changes moving forward. We're trying to expand our distribution. As you can see, as you probably already know, we started doing more Spotify, and we're trying to live stream more on Twitch. Twitch is more trying to get the high school age populations engaged, and obviously Spotify trying to get like the working age and every other population that uses Spotify to get our content out. Workshops and presentations for the public. You'll be seeing more of that coming up. This is the goal to educate the public, give a behind the scenes look at what we do, educate our most vulnerable population, which is our seniors and our low income, help all of our town departments become more transparent for social media, and boost volunteerism and content production from the public with Hadley Media. I want to do some more community outreach. This includes tabling events where we're educating folks of who we are, and most importantly, getting out in the community and staying relevant. I have a few examples at my previous job where I did some tabling. We don't have to go as crazy as buying pins and magnets and all that, but you get the idea. And obviously we did something similar for when we went out to the career fairs last 2 falls ago. Try to get someone in. So here are the challenges that we're gonna be facing coming up. So last year we talked about cord cutting and what happens to our funding when someone cuts the cord. We're still experiencing that. But this time around, we get other ongoing issues that are going to they're impacted by telecommunication industry changes. First challenge, so Disney pulled Disney-owned channels from Charter Spectrum service in August of 2023. They declined, according to the LA Times, they declined a $2.2 billion deal for programming. This included ESPN, Disney, ABC, FX, Freeform, and National Geographic. So although they're offering Disney Plus in addition to TV cable subscribers, we probably saw that impact. We won't know until next month when the state comes out with the subscriber number counts. The Xumo box. So it's a joint venture between Charter and Comcast. They are coming out with a streaming box called a Xumo. It's a non-cable option for new subscribers, which is pretty much just like an Amazon Fire Stick, from what I understand. And anyone who would like to upgrade or subscribe to it, it could mean that PEG channels through Charter might not be offered with this exclusive service. So we don't know what the impact will be coming up. That's yet to see, but that is a potential challenge right now. Obviously the price hike. We've been very transparent about what Charter is doing with price hikes. And obviously not a lot of people are happy about it. And when prices go up, people try to look for alternative options. And that can have an impact. There's gonna be no capital grant. Charter Spectrum's not offering capital grants to PEG stations. Unlike Comcast, Charter's not going to be offering capital grants. Instead, they're offering communities the full 5% as capped by federal law. And it can make it challenging to keep our equipment inventory up to date. So we're just relying on that 5% revenue, and that's it. Obviously, it's not a terrible problem to have, but it will have an impact. The compensation study and the union raises. Both Hadley Media staff members will qualify to be a part of the union once formed. And like I said, it'll have an impact on how much money we spend each year. Again, we don't know what's going to happen, but it's definitely going to have an impact. And what do all these challenges have in common? All these challenges have some sort of continual subscriber decline and continued revenue decline, which will have an impact on Hadley Media operations. Our finances. So this is the most up-to-date revenue and subscriber counts as I can get you guys. So revenue did go up last year, but also the subscriber count went down. Obviously, because of the price hike, we did get a little extra money last year in 2023, and we're probably going to have another jump in 2024, only because we're getting a higher percentage. But I would not count on that as a trend, as if this number is going way down. You can only sustain that number for so long. This is our 5-year outlook here. So as you can tell, if we were to, assuming that I stay 5 more years, and we have a couple turnovers throughout the couple of years, although Nick is more than welcome to stay for as long as he wants, we will have a negative balance in year 5. This is depleting all of our reserves balance. And that's just a reminder, declining revenue for traditional TV is not a Hadley problem, it's a national problem. So this is an outlook for the future here. So we're in 2023. It is expected to go way down. 90% of all, according to Forbes, 90% of all TV households were subscribed to television in 2011. In September 2023, the number was 60.8%, just to give a perspective of what can happen in 12 years. And I mentioned this last year. If all 2,256 households in Hadley had $60 added to their taxes, or we got $6 each household, we could raise up to over 135,000, which is $60 a year, $5 a month, and that's cheaper than Netflix. And Netflix rates are going to be going up. I mean, we're not going to be paying $5 billion to have WWE be aired on Hadley Media at any point, but you get the point. That's one of Netflix's goals for 2025. So our goals and solutions. So just to give an outlook of all of our goals here. Use outside sources to help better production value. That could, we borrow equipment from other stations all the time. Even though we're having these financial issues, I'd like to see the paid hours of the production assistant raised. Just so we can try to keep a production assistant and retain staff. Support community media friendly legislation, and I already somewhat did it. Come up with that 10-year plan to forecast revenue, and how to supplement that revenue, which we'll talk about soon. And create better succession and retention plans. I'm going fast. Does anyone have any other questions before I continue?
No.
Okay, great. So the first one, the biggest solutions that everyone can do right now is to call our reps and senators to help get H74 and S34 to pass. It's gone further than ever. It finally got extended after joint rule in the State House. So we're asking the public to ask our Rep Kerry and Senator Comerford to contact the chairs of the Joint Committee on Advanced Information Technology, Cybersecurity, and Internet to prioritize these bills and favorably out of committee. This will help our financial situation substantially if this gets passed. And this is the first session's beginning. It's been in, so we've been trying to get this bill going for 6 years altogether. So there are, I know we briefly talked about in the past a Friends organization. So if there are members of the community willing to put together a Friends of Hadley Media organization like Wilbraham, that could help. So Wilbraham does have their own Friends of the Wilbraham Public Access, so it's not a new thing if we were to do it. So that's an option that the community can do to help. Since sports is our biggest viewing, we could look into creating a revolving account or gift fund for sports and special events. With use of underwriting for sports and other events such as the Memorial Day Parade, we could offset some payroll and equipment costs. And then we come with the question of, do we ask the Booster Club or the Athletics Department to help pitch in the shared revenue? And I also put down here an example of what underwriting could look like if we were to do it in sports. Obviously, that's subject to legal and all that, because we are a municipality, but it's an idea. Would definitely like to explore it a little more. Cultural council grants to help offset the time that it takes to to create these programs such as the Memorial Day Parade, the Holiday Light Trail, Trunk or Treat, the Remembrance Ceremony, any ongoing event that we do once a year, every single year. I would like to apply for a grant. It's not going to be much, but it's better than nothing. It will help our financial situation a little bit. Shared services. Do we work with our neighbors like fire departments do when it comes to sharing personnel and equipment? Do we regionalize? There's some things we could look into as well. The thing that we don't want to talk about, but it is an option, the general fund subsidy. It's understood that this isn't the most favorable nor the first option to think about. But it should be thought about at some point. Even if our bill gets passed, we get grants that we want. And the extra funds to do some things for the community that like having. There will be gaps that we still need to be filled, and once the bill gets passed, I personally think that's going to take a couple years to really figure out how much money we're getting in and how consistent it's going to be. So there's a lot going on with all that, and that's if it gets passed. And then we do get a general fund subsidy. A question might pop up: how can Hadley Media be more of a benefit to the town? I'm looking at things that have been talked about, all that. Basic IT support, communications, public relations support, social media, training for town and school employees. Does the town want to look into tourism and economic development campaigns? These are just ideas of how we could adapt. And obviously it's my belief that every department is a part of the puzzle in some way, and it takes all of us to work as a team, and we're part of that team, and we want to be part of that team, even though we're not getting the tax funding, we're getting the cable funding. We're still a town department, we're still a town partner, and we're part of the team. So that was a very brief, more brief than I thought it was going to be. So if anyone has any questions, they can always reach out to my office. That's 413-584-1203. And my email is lamarchea@hadleyma.gov. So this is now where we open up to questions from the committee.
No, just thank you for what you do. I know I have to watch a lot of various board and committee meetings on YouTube after the fact because it's almost impossible to watch them live or to be there in person. So I appreciate it. It's a good resource.
Thank you.
This answered a lot of my questions. There was a lot of things I was thinking about, and you've already been researching it and looking into it. So I think that is fabulous. I love the presentation. I think these are great things to start on, and I like each one you mentioned. I think have a lot of substance to them. So great job.
Thank you. Last semester, part of my independent study for grad school was to look into some of these things, and that's what came up to fruition. So I'm hoping to look into these a little more forever, and hopefully we can come up with some solutions.
I want to say thank you as well. I appreciated the presentation. It's very thorough. I do think that, continuing to promote the legislation that's out there, try to get as many people on board to take a look at that anyway, and keep pushing the message. Is after all these board meetings, it's brought to you by Hadley Media.
Thank you, Andy. You're so absolutely right. We just got to keep pushing.
Is it possible? I don't know the rules on this, but you talk about the sports programming and the school programming is very popular. Is it popular, or is it possible to have
local businesses sponsor sports programming for a season, baseball season, basketball
Yeah,
season,
that's
whatever.
what I had here. So like, so this is the example. We showed this at halftime, and then we say that this game came to you with the financial support of yada yada yada. Whether it be Joe's Coffee or Hadley Media Buses, or I mean, there's a lot of potential, and Hadley is fortunate enough to have a lot of a wide range of local businesses. So and it'd be a great way to also work with the Chamber of Commerce too. To get the message out that you can help us with some of this stuff.
Because it's probably not going to solve our problem, but at least it'll buy us some time until things like legislation go into effect and other solutions come up. Do you have or could you come up with a dollar amount to say, hey, if we got, $1,000 for baseball season, that would defray the cost of us broadcasting baseball games or something along those lines?
Yeah, absolutely. I can come up with a number for you. I'll work on that.
All right, I think that'd be helpful because at least, like I said, buy us some time.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was definitely a successful strategy back with Park and Rec as well, that promote advertising for local businesses in support of their donation. You give them window space or banner space somewhere in the at different times during the program.
Yeah.
It's been an effective tool before.
Absolutely. And I do want to caution, because we are a non-commercial station, we have to be very careful in how we offer advertising space, which is why we're calling it underwriting. Pretty much just like PBS and New England and NPR, they do underwriting, which is pretty much a non-commercial way of advertising. So we can't show commercials or anything. We can show like this slideshow that we're doing, or we can probably mention it during a game or whatever. But it has to be non-commercial. I just want to make sure that everyone's clear about that.
Any other questions for Alex?
No. Good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I want to say, keep up the good work on the Facebook too, because I do see a lot of good information, and now I'm seeing the information coming out about the agendas, things like that. So I think it's very helpful to tell people what's happening in town. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's something we just started doing, so I'm glad it's getting, and people are noticing, so I'm glad it's getting traction.
All right. Well, thanks for your time. And if there's nothing else, we'll jump over to Chief Mason.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
How's everybody doing tonight? Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Well, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't have a PowerPoint for you. And I think I can actually be a heck of a lot quicker than I normally am, and definitely quicker than Alex.
Okay.
So Linda and Carolyn did their due diligence in the first round of the budget adjustments. And we definitely made some reductions in what I was looking to add. And so in all reality, the only increases that you're going to see in both the police and the dispatch budgets is going to be for the contractual increases that they negotiated previously. So that's all you're going to see as far as a significant increase. I did some line consolidation, and I'm gonna, in future years, try to do even more because I know it's really annoying for all of you, and it is as much as it is for me to look at 20 lines in the police budget and another 10 lines in the dispatch budget. So you're going to see what looks like increases in 3 of these lines, but in actuality they're just consolidation with 3 other lines, and they're complete and total removal from the budget. So 5242 absorbed 5244, 5306 absorbed 5340, and so on and so forth. So those are not increases, those are just consolidations. And your wage lines are really going to be your only significant increases in both budgets. We did also go through and actually make some reductions to some of the lines. So, there's about 6 places within the police budget that we made some small reductions as well, where we felt like we could. And there's 3 different lines, and we're hoping to consolidate our building maintenance situation with some of the other departments in town within the dispatch budget. So we made some reductions in a few of those lines as well. So again, just like the police budget, all you're talking about as far as increases is the contractual increases. The only thing of note that I'd like to just make a point on as we move forward is that one of the cuts that we did make is for a plan for a proposed a new administrative position in town. And what we're trying to build is a mental health and substance abuse program for not only the citizens in Hadley, but also for the town employees. So basically, we're trying to build a wellness program. What I had added to our budget was funding to add that position, a full-time clinician, substance abuse counselor type person, with the hope that we could defray salary costs with opioid money that we get in the opioid settlement annually, as well as a state 911 grant to cover a good chunk of that salary as well. Obviously, we can't cover all of it, and we can't cover any potential impact on the on a benefits line for that position. So what we decided to do was to pull it for the time being, and the hope is that we could represent it at some point at fall town meeting or after fall town meeting. And potentially we would have enough money in the opioid line to fully cover, the rest of the fiscal year's salary for that position. We are obviously going to need to have more discussions as we work towards that, because it's not a position that we want to hire for and then have to lay off in FY26. So that will have future, we can have future discussions on that, but I just wanted to make note that that is something that we did remove from the budget that I think is really important and really going to be good for the town. And the other part of it is that OSHA, I've been actually talking a lot with Chief Spanknabel's administrative assistant, who has been working a lot on the new OSHA protocols that are coming out. And one of the protocols that is coming out is this exact thing. A person of this nature or a program like this that is going to be potentially, it's not set in stone yet, but it's going to potentially be required for all first responders. So all the firefighters in town and all the police officers in town and anyone else who is certified as a first responder, we're going to be required to have a program like this as we move forward to the future, likely. I didn't even know that when we were coming up with the idea for this program. So we were actually, we found out afterwards, it was great news that we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But again, it has been removed from the budget, so it's not in there right now, and we can talk about it moving forward. But I just really felt like I had to say something to the finance committee just to make sure that everyone was of the understanding that it's, I'm going to bring it back again as we move towards the end of FY 25. So that's it. Like I said, there's been reductions in several lines, and the only significant increases in this year's budget are the pre-negotiated wages. And I can answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah. First of all, can I just ask a clarification? The numbers that you're referring to are in the budget book that we picked up. Linda, is that correct? Okay, so that's accurate what we have. Okay. And the administrative, is that 5112 where you pulled that out of, or?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
just
you'll
get
see.
a magnitude, that's all. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you'll see my request was 117. So it was basically
Right.
an addition of about a 65
Yep.
to $70,000 a year salary. And so
Okay.
that was removed back down to my current single employee.
And we're going to tackle that in the fall. Okay,
That's the hope.
good. Okay. I think Andy had his hand up also.
Yeah, that was the same question I had.
Oh, okay. Okay. Two birds
I-
again. All right.
I have a little bit of a different question. So if we're still talking the salaries, I noticed that you put in, Mike, for the police chief's salary and then the full wages for the officers, you put in one amount, but it was recommended at a higher amount than what you put in.
I'll take the higher one. I think, Amy, I think what happened
Yeah,
was
yes,
is
sir.
you may have a little bit old paperwork. My contract is coming up at the end of
Oh.
June, and this is the first time that I asked Linda if it would make sense for us to try to get it settled before, the fall, so we could get it into this budget, and everyone thought it was a good idea. So we were able to do that. And I
That's-
think what the larger number, what you're seeing is Linda's adjusted budget for the correct amount.
Right. The first one, you honored our no increases, but then again, you had a contract increase. So by the time we got to the final approval, we put in your contract increase.
Okay.
Can I also point out, this goes back to 24, but on the last line cruiser, I just want to remind you that we have gone from leasing cruisers, which will continue for another 2 or 3 years. We're going to see that out. I think 2 or 3 are under lease. And going back to the purchase on an annual basis of a new cruiser each year. And beginning in 24 is when we put it into the budget at full price. And that means it's not going to be requested of the capital committee each year. So that leaves room in the capital budget for other items. But we always had to leave that room. We had a certain budget for capital purchases, and cruiser was always in there taking the $100,000 slot. So I think this, because we did have the extra money in 24, it seemed a good opportunity. We know we buy it on an annual basis. Even though it's still a capital item, it's annual. So it's going into the operational budget, and we're hoping we can keep it that way.
And also, as the leases come off, I think you said this, maybe I don't mean to reiterate it, Linda, but as the leases come off, that line will decrease as the leases come off. So you'll see a reduction there. And then once the two leases, we have two currently, once the two leases are off fully, the only change you'll see in that line is, cruiser cost expenses when they go up and down and all that.
They increase. Yeah, I figured it might offset after a few years anyways, that the price of cruisers go up.
So what is the price of the cruiser now about?
Right now, they're about 80,000.
Is that loaded with all your stuff in it?
Yep.
And I have one more. You mentioned, I understood your contract, which exactly what you said in for the officers' wages, the other line, the 5118 line, that one increased more than what you wanted too. Was that because of the union negotiations? I mean, Was that not complete at the time?
I think that one may have been mathematical, just a math error on my part, Linda. I mean, I don't remember exactly what the change was or why the change in that one. I can get back to you on that. I'm looking at it right now, and I actually made the number red for some reason. I just can't remember why I
Yeah.
did that.
You were our first review, and I'm having trouble remembering too. Is that, you're talking about the third line?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yep.
5118.
Yeah.
Like it was $700.
Wait a minute, I got it. I know what it was. It was because we did have a slight increase in the lieutenant's salaries. So that's 2 lieutenant salaries. I think it was a 2% increase. And then we locked them in at that rate. So that's what that is. I want to say it was like 1,700 total, something like that.
Okay.
It was a 2% increase, I believe, for the two of my lieutenants.
Great. I just want to make
That-
sure you understood it and it wasn't an error or anything.
Yep,
Thank-
no, that was the same thing, Amy. That actually came up after I submitted the budget, and we did that with the select board after that. So that's why those numbers were late going in.
And I have one more last question. And this has to do with the supplies line, which is the 5580 line. I noticed that in 21 and then 22 and 23, all those actuals were, you're talking 24,000. And then last year we voted for 28,000. Now we're back down to 24. I know we lowered it, but looking at the past, I'm wondering, did we lower it too much? So between you and Linda, maybe I just wanted you to double check that line to make sure that looked correct.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the ones that we did discuss in the first round with Linda and Carolyn, and I think most of what we were looking at was the actuals, how much we had spent to date
That was
at
it.
certain periods of time.
Yep.
And so we just decided that because because we're in a little bit of a tight financial spot, that we could suck it up and make a little bit deeper of a reduction in that line. We only have a couple of like mandatory costs that have to come out of that. The rest of it is just upkeep and things like that. And I can easily cover those costs. So as much as I hate to say it'll be kind of a test year, it's not really how it's supposed to be, but we can scrimp and cut back on things and we'll see how it goes. But I appreciate you looking out for it, Amy. Thank you. But we're
Well,
gonna.
I noticed on a lot, not just your budget, but a lot of the budgets, we were tight on some of these too. So I didn't know for sure if we were maybe had one supplier that was giving us a benefit, or if there was something that we were working together with different departments.
You will see that in the dispatch budget under the building maintenance line. It's a very similar line. That's what we're trying to do. But as far as the police supply line, that's not building supply expenses. That's more, replacing firearms parts and things like that. Things that don't always require replacement. So we're in better shape with that line.
Oh, good.
So it was the dispatch one where we took out it because we were putting it over in
The dispatch one, yes, Linda.
we put it over the 490 account under
Correct.
DPW. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 222 line. So
Okay.
basically, you left me enough to cover our some of our monthly costs for some of the things that we have to pay for, and then the supply part of it will come
Yeah.
out of
Cleaning.
the 490.
Yeah, the cell cleaning service that you have, I think we left in
Right.
there, but all of the paper goods and the various cleaning supplies, we consolidated over in 490.
Yeah, and I think the plan that we have moving forward, or at least the one that we've discussed, is going to save the town a lot of money if we can really kind of everybody get on the same page, to Amy's point, as far as using a single company and getting those discounts and stuff, because we have 3 or 4 buildings using completely different services right now. We have to consolidate it.
I have one more question down in the weeds. If you're all done with that point.
Yes, sir.
When I was looking at dues here, 5730, In 23, the actual was just under 6,000, and 24 year to date, basically double that. And yet it is less for requested in 2025. I'm kind of, it seems to double and then come back down.
Yeah.
You clarify
What
that?
I did with that, Andy, is some of the dues that we have paid in years past, I moved to our tech support line because those dues are actually for technical support rather than other types of dues. So we paid dues for the range, the firearms range that we use. We paid dues to be able to be on the county bids for all of the vehicles that the town buys. I cover the cost for all of that. Like if DPW wants to buy a truck, we have to be on the county bid, and there's dues for that. I had previously had some of my technical maintenance annual costs in that dues line, and I moved it this past year to my tech line just to kind of square it away in my brain and make sure it was all coming from the same place. So that's why you see that reduction.
Okay,
Chief, I don't expect you to have this right here tonight, but could you get us this? Looking for FY24 year-to-date revenue from details and what the administrative portion is to the town. And then also FY24 citation revenue. I believe that all gets paid through the clerk. So I'm not sure if that is a separate line item in her budget or not, but if you could just give me the FY24 for that.
Got it. Do you want cruiser fees as well, David? I believe that the admin fees and the cruiser fees go into the same general fund.
Yeah, as much as you can. Yeah.
Got it.
Thank you.
Good presentation. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome. I am available anytime for any questions, folks. You all have my email. Shoot me an email. Give me a call at the office. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank
I
you.
have a question before you leave just tonight. It has to do with your building. I'm just curious. How is it over there? Do we foresee a lot of repairs, a lot of maintenance? Is there big problems? I'm just curious on what to expect down the road.
I mean, you probably get a different answer if you ask Gary Berg or even the fire chief. We have basic maintenance issues from my point of view. The issues that we have had with the roof in the past, previous to when it was redone, we have mold and things like that. We have to have the tiles replaced. I mean, it's a 30-year-old building that's used 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I don't think it's completely out of the question to think that, before I retire, we're going to have to explore, looking for something else. We've outgrown it. We outgrew it long ago. That's why we had to, we had to fly I-beams into the locker room just to put a few extra lockers in there because it couldn't hold the weight. So there is nothing that the building, in the immediate future, that the building's going to fall down or anything like that. We're in good shape when it comes to that, but there are definitely some issues that we are probably going to need to explore as we move forward. First thing would be an expansion of the parking lot, possibly bringing in some solar to reduce our energy costs, things like that. Some of those things are actually already on capital and have been on capital for a few years. But I would encourage you, Amy, to ask those same questions to the fire chief as well as to DPW and Gary himself, because he would probably give you a different answer than I just gave you. And if I know Gary Berg a little bit, and I think I do, it might be a little bit more gloomy than how I just put it. But that would be, I would say that we're okay for the time being. But, like I said, I would ask Gary.
Oh, it makes sense. I just like to double check with the people that are in there, that are working there firsthand, that sees everything and what your thoughts are. And it does kind of make sense that you have grown quite a bit since that building has been put there. So things have changed. I see that. So it is
Yes.
something that we want to look at. You know, we'll have to look at for our future. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, anything else from finance?
No, I'm good. It was a good presentation.
All right, last call from you, Linda. Anything for us before we call it a night?
Before Paul's,
I think we are set.
All right.
I think,
so-
did everyone, does someone still need a budget book?
all set.
Okay, everyone's good? I know, David, you don't want one.
Yep, I use the PDF. I like that one.
I just want to make sure that we have enough and that we are accessible for when you want to come in. But I don't think Shardul has picked one up, and I don't know whether he's using the
PDF.
electronic version or not, but we'll check with him. Okay. No, that's it.
Well, then I'll
Thank
make
you,
a-
everyone.
Would you like a motion to adjourn?
Absolutely, it's your time.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion by Paul, second by Amy, and I'll roll call it. Paul,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. Good night.
All right.
Night.
Hit the red button, everybody. Good night. Thank you all.
Good night.